with other states as well. Means that the whole nation will share the same standardized curriculum. Okay. So now we look what is here. Federal minister in federal, the at the center, at the at the federal, the Ministry of Education or Ministry of Higher Education. So the person who are very important is the minister, of course, the menteri, minister, and the director general. Here we call as ketua pengarah. Director general is the ketua pengarah. So their responsibility is to make the policy development. So of course, when they make their policy, they need to look down what is happening in the schools, the community. So then they will do the policy and they will get information, get the data, and then they will, of course, do their policy. But the problem is that I think most of the countries will face the same problem. The new minister be elected, then the new policy will be introduced. That's the, I think, the weaknesses of any minister, a new minister. If they want to just continue the previous policy, they will introduce the new policy, even though the previous policy has not been achieved. So that's, I think, one of the negative aspect. If we keep changing the government, so the new minister will impose the new policy that sometimes is not that related to the field of education. So the second one is the level of state. So once the minister or the director general already share the policy to the state, so the state director, we call here as pengarah, each state will got one director for each state. For Sabah, we got director of education for Sabah. For Johor, they got director of education for Johor, for Selangor as well. So they will coordinate and monitor the program, the implementation of the policy, of the curriculum, of the co-curriculum, and provide feedback to the ministry. And they need to provide the feedback to the minister whether this policy is good or not, being implemented or not, how is the response, the feedback from the teachers and from the students. And the third level, of course, will go down to the district. From the state, the head officer of education for each district will have head officer for education. So this head officer will connect to the school and the JP, and JPN is actually for Jabatan Pendidikan Negeri, the department, education department for each state. So they will connect between the school and the department, and they will help to coordinate and monitor the program implementation, the project activities, and etc. And last one, of course, at school, this is the most important person in school, who are the nobody than the principal and the headmaster, because the principal and the headmaster are responsible to be sure that all the policy, all the curriculum, all the implementation should be followed by the teachers and by the students. So that's why it's a very good post to be a principal or headmaster for a school, because why? Principal and headmaster can change the school environment. It's up to them to shape the school, to make the school positive or negative. Is up to the principal and to the headmaster, because they are the leader for that particular schools and that for particular areas. So they know better, they should know better compared to other teachers, and of course compared to the students themselves. So this is the level of management of education in Malaysia. Okay, next, type of preschool. Okay, there are here I give you some pictures of our kindergarten students. So of course, the first one is the government schools. Most of preschool here sponsored or being governed by the government schools. Okay, preschool. Most of the preschool here located at the primary school. The building is same building with the primary school. One class or two classes will be allocated for preschool education. That's for the government. And then government agencies. There are many government agencies who also run their own preschool at their department, but still being monitored by the government, because they still follow the government curriculum. curriculum standard prasekolah kebangsaan. They still follow that that curriculum that been provided by the Ministry of Education. And the third one is the private. Of course, private also need to follow the same curriculum. They might add their own curriculum, but it is compulsory for them to follow the government curriculum. They might add on their own like subject, their own activities, but the base for the curriculum they need to follow the standardized curriculum that been provided by the Ministry of Education. So of course, normally the private the private school, the fees more expensive. Normally, the higher ranking people, the rich people, they will send to their kids to the private preschool. Okay. The fourth one is the religious. Here there are so many also religious preschool, Islamic preschool, who want their parents who want their kids to memorize Al-Quran, to learn more about religion. So they will send their kids to the religious preschool. And international also as well. There are also several preschool at the level of international. Normally, international for the foreign workers, for the foreign lecturers who want to get international curriculum. So they will send their kids to the preschool at international level. And normally, this of course, this international preschool will be conducted in English. Okay. And types of primary school. So the figure 7,800 is the number of primary school in Malaysia. And I believe that in Malaysia you got, I think, of course, more than this number. So in Malaysia we only have 7,800 primary school in Malaysia. So the first one, of course, government. So this is the most type of primary school in Malaysia. Government, fully sponsored. No need to pay anything. It's a free education for all if you enter the government school. Okay. It also divided into the first one, national school. We call it as sekolah kebangsaan. When you heard about sekolah kebangsaan, it's a national school. National school that using bahasa Malaysia, Malay language as the medium interaction. But for the second one is vernacular school, Chinese and Tamil. So this is the things that actually personally I don't agree, but this is the system being followed during those British, during we were colonized by the British. So this is something that still continue in our nation here. We got school, the first one is for the Chinese and then for the Tamil. Means that at that school they are using here they use Mandarin. Mandarin as the medium interaction, and for Tamil school, Indian school, they will use Tamil language for the medium of interaction. They are not using bahasa Malaysia, bahasa Melayu. They are using Chinese and Tamil as the medium of interaction for that particular school. So they are still exist until now. Private school, of course, for those who have parents who very rich, super rich, so they can send their kids to the private school to get so-called as better education. Although it's not guaranteed, but the perception is like that. And you send your kids to private school, you will get a better education. It's just a perception. It's not, to me, it's quite subjective. It might be true, it might be not true. Religious matafis, there are parents who want their kids to further their study to the, I think in Indonesia you got the pesantren. So here we call as matafis, so they can send their kids to the religious school. So later on they can send their kids to the secondary, also to the matafis, and they can send their kids to the Arab nation if you want to further study in the religious field. And of course, international open means that anybody can enter that international school, either Malaysian or non-Malaysian. And last one is this is very special. The request from the government means that here in Sabah, in this country, in my state here, we got one school, Indonesian school, is specially built for Indonesian kids who were born here, and for the parents Indonesian parents who work here. There are many Indonesian here, so the Malaysian government allow the Indonesian government to build a special school at their own land in this state for special for Indonesian students. So that's why I call as Indonesian School International, but in bracket a request from the government. Okay, so we go further next to the type of secondary school. There are 2,450 secondary school in Malaysia. So same with the primary school, government school, national, and also regular school. And then boarding school. Boarding means that here we call it a sekolah berasrama penuh. It's a boarding school, a school with hostel, and it fully equipped, and the students there no need for them to pay anything. And boarding school is, I can say that, for a very good student, excellent student. So from UPSR, the special test during they were at the primary school, so they can, from that result, if they possess a very good result, they can enter the boarding school. Or from the PT3 also, after they have a very good result for the exam, they can enter this boarding school. This is a very special school for excellent students, for the excellent students. Religious school, we got many religious school here. It's more, I think, 100 of this school in Malaysia. Vocational is for the technical. Means that you want to be a technician, want to be a wireman, whatever, so they can go to this vocational school. Because here in Malaysia, we know that there are so many factories here. So these factories, they need a very full skill workers. So from this vocational school, they will produce a very skillful workers for that particular factories. And last one is the private, or the private school. Of course, and the international school is open for everybody to enter. And of course, again, the fees for the international school is very expensive. Right? You imagine, for the government school is free of charge, but for international school, I think the cheapest monthly, the cheapest is 400 ringgit Malaysia. 400 ringgit Malaysia monthly. Monthly they need to pay to the school. That's the school fees for the international schools. There are international school here. The fees monthly, they need to pay 1,000 ringgit Malaysia each month. So it's very expensive. So not everybody can, have the can afford to send their children to the international school. So normally, like myself, I went to government school from the kindergarten until I finished my study. Okay. And last one is the tertiary education, or the higher education. We got polytechnic. Polytechnic is a center of training, a center of institution focused on the very technical. You want to be engineer, you want to be architecture, you want to be what? Anything to do with very technical, wireman, technician. So the student will go to the polytechnic. There are 36 polytechnic, 36 polytechnic, the whole world. The whole Malaysia. Okay, and then community college is almost the same with polytechnic, but the level is lower. Normally, community college will only give the certificate. Polytechnic, they will give the diploma. So community college, normally they will only be given the certificate, and then that's why the the courses will only conducted from 1 to 2 years. Polytechnic, they will need to finish in 3 years. There are 88 polytechnic community college in Malaysia. And we got also here Mara Technical College. Mara is a government agencies. It's very established, very strong in terms of financial and etc. They got their own technical college. There are 14 technical college around Malaysia. And then Industrial Training Institute. These are also for the for the market, for the factories, for the for the skills for the student who actually are not really good academically, but they are really good in terms of in terms of psychomotor, in terms of practical, in terms of like to be technician. They are able to when the car broken, they are able to fix the car. So they will enter this industrial training institute. There are 23 in Malaysia. And for those who want to be a teacher for primary school, this is the institution that specialize on it. Teacher Education Institute in Malaysia, we got 27. When they enter this institute, means that they will become a teacher for primary school in Malaysia. Okay, so there are 27 teacher education institute in Malaysia that train the future teachers for the primary school. And of course, here we got university, the government university. So University Malaysia Sabah is one of the government university. Only 20 government university in Malaysia, because of course, government university means that all the financial assistance come from the government. So that's why there are only 20, because if more than this, I don't think government can spend a lot of money to give to the university. So there are only 20 government university in Malaysia with so many courses offered, from medical, engineering, law, science, social science, chemical, education, and etc. And of course, last one is the university, college or college university, private. We got here actually more than 500 private university or university college in Malaysia. You can imagine only 20 from government, but more than 500 is from the private sector. So there are many, but of course, private, the fees is more expensive compared to the government university. Let's say, for example, in Malaysia, for one program, 4 years, I think around Malaysia ringgit 20,000 Malaysian ringgit, 20,000 Malaysian ringgit for 4 years courses. But if you enter the private, it will go until 30 to 40,000 ringgit Malaysia. So it's very expensive, double up from the compared to the government, government fees. Okay, that's why most of the, I say the Bumi Putras, because most Putra is not that rich, so they will enter the government university. For those who rich people, they will enter the private university. Okay. So I want to focus on internalization, because it seems that related to the topic that how Malaysian education system can contribute to the harmonious of the ASEAN countries. Okay. Here we got international schools, 171. So college also so many, I mentioned before. Students also many, as I mentioned, Indonesian students, they come here study part-time, full-time, mobility students, they come here. So there are many international students from if here in Sabah we got many from China as well. And then programs also, there are many international programs that other students from other countries can join, can register to the program. So, and this is the things that I want to emphasize, the mobility programs. Mobility programs that it means that let's say Indonesian student from Indonesia can come to the university, to UMS, and then they will take some courses for one semester. They can do for the credit transfer. Okay, or they just come here for 1 or 2 months to learn about our system, to enter the class, to join the class, to join some of the project been conducted by the lecturers or by the students. So this is the kind of program that I think should be good, can benefit for both parties, for Malaysian and the ASEAN countries, especially the Indonesians. Okay, and also here, some of the syllabus we covered about the Asian people, Asian countries. We know about, like say, okay, at least we know the Indonesia and the Jakarta, Thailand, Bangkok. So we know what is the countries that really can contribute to Malaysian education system, and the student also we know at least a glance of the background of all the ASEAN countries and most of the countries, important countries in the world. So they will know about that. So at least they know about their education system a little bit. Otherwise, we cannot compared to other education system. Okay, so here in Malaysia, as I mentioned before, there are many international schools. So the difference between the private and international is that private school in Malaysia, they still need to adhere to follow the standardized curriculum. But for international, they don't have to follow. They can use their own curriculum and English as the medium of instruction. Okay. So although these schools mainly cater for the needs of international community, but nowadays, right, currently there are many Malaysians who send their kids to the international schools because they want their kids to mix up with the international people, especially those parents who who speak English at home, very well versed in English, so they want to their kids to learn from the foreign children, from the international students, so they send their kids to the international school. Okay, this is some of the foreign university branches in Malaysia. There are 10, 10. So quite many. From Monash University, Curtin, Nottingham, Swinburne, Newcastle, Southampton, Heriot Walt, Reading, Yemen, and the lowest is the surgeon of Ireland. That means that specialized in medical. So there are many because they know that their market here is quite okay. They can get students from here. There are many rich people in Malaysia, might be, so they can send their kids to the university. And normally they will have a twinning program. In that, when, for example, when you send your kids to the Monash University, 2 years they will go to their original country for 2 years as well. Like Nottingham, you study here for 2 years and then you study at UK for 2 years. So that's the things that they want to experience. They want to go to the no need for them to go to the UK for 4 years, 2 years here, 2 years UK. So with with a less fees, with a less budget, they can get a very international degree from the original university there. Okay. So now I want to share a little bit. Okay, I will stop inshallah in 10 minutes to give you some more time for you to raise question if any. If you don't, it's okay if any. Okay. So now in Malaysia, this is the latest one. We got Nation Education Development Plan, MEDP, atau in Malay we call as in Malay PIPP, Pelan Induk Pembangunan Pendidikan, Malaysian Education Development Plan, started to 2013 and will be ended at 2025. So this is the 5 aspiration of the education system. Access means that 100% enrollment across all level of education from primary school to upper secondary means that 11 years compulsory education should be imposed and all the students across the level must learn at least for 11 years. Okay, means that all the people will have the access for that. Quality, I think you're also familiar with PISA, PISA exam. Okay, so for the PISA exam, Malaysia now is not at the top, not at the top half. We are at the bottom, half bottom of the placement. So the target of Ministry of Education is we need to climb to the top third of the group within 15 years. It's not easy, but of course the government is trying very hard to reach that level. And then the third one is equity, 50% reduction in achievement gap. Of course, any countries, I think including Indonesia, we got urban and rural area. The gap between rural and urban is very, very big gap. So our government is trying to reduce the gap between the rural and urban area. I think now when we face this COVID-19, all of you students and lecturers, you are teaching at home. Some of the students cannot access the internet. So if they cannot access the internet, how come they can get the education from us? So I think internet is the most important aspect for us if we want to run or to carry on with the online learning. Okay, so that's why the gap need to be closer to each other. Otherwise, the gap will be enlarged from time to time. Okay, and then the unity. The government is trying to uh, to make sure that all the values they learn from the schools, and then they can appreciate the diversity. Instead here, especially in Semenanjung Peninsula, Malaysia, we've got Malay, Chinese, and Indian, three different races with three different religion, three different background, and it's not easy to make them unite. So it's a challenge for the government to unite them. There's one good about Indonesian. Either you Chinese, you are Bumiputra, local, or you are Indian, your name is still name of Indonesia. That's why I cannot differentiate whether you are Chinese, Javanese, whatever from your name, because your name symbolize you are Indonesian. But here in Malaysia, you can find Chinese name, you can find Malay name, you can find Indian name. So that's the challenge of our top management, of our prime minister, how to unite us. It's not easy, but we are facing that positively. And of course, the competency system that maximize student achievement means that we try to make sure that students will be able to get a very good achievement with existing provision, with anything that they have. They might not very rich school. Um, their school might lack of infrastructure, but we are trying to maximize their achievement in order for them to reach the better education in their life. Okay. So from this also we come with student aspiration. There are only 5 or 6 aspiration. The first one, of course, is the knowledge. That's why, okay, for you all the students, you need to have to possess these three. Actually, A, S, K. A, what is the attitude? K is knowledge, and S is the skill. So as a university student, you need to have a very good knowledge, because that's why you go to the university. You want to get to acquire as much knowledge as you can get. And then the thinking skills, knowledge without skills also is something I can say useless, because thinking skills now is at a high level. We call it HOTS, high order thinking skills. It's not anymore at the lower level thinking skills. So we need to upgrade our thinking skills to the high level, the HOTS, high order thinking skills. Leadership skill. Of course, if you enter any organization, one day, inshallah, we will become the leader for that organization. So you need to have this leadership skills in order for us to become the leader for the future. If not for the country, for our own family. And then the bilingual skills in Malaysia, of course, Bahasa Malaysia, Bahasa Melayu, and Bahasa English language. So all the students need to be fully equipped, well versed with these bilingual skills. Because there are students who come from the international school, even they are Malay, they cannot speak Malay very, very well because they are only familiar with English, not good with Malay. That's why this has been emphasized by our minister. All our students need to very good in Malay and in English. And of course, ethical and religious. As I mentioned before, it means nothing if you are very, very good in academic, but you are not good in terms of ethical and religious. That's why this will make us human being. This will differentiate us with the, sorry to say, animal. Animal, they don't have this intellectual faculty. They don't have the thinking part. But we as human being, we have the thinking part. We have the intellectual faculty that we can consider, use them rationally. Then this will make ourselves good and good for others as well. And last one is the national identity. Is that we want our students to know that you are Malaysian. You need to show that you are really Malaysian and be proud to be Malaysian. Okay, so you go outside, you mean we are Malaysia, come from Malaysia, so you need to show your national identity. Okay, and last slide. Okay, so when I say last slide, maybe most of the students happy. So almost finished. Okay, last slide from me. So there are 11 shifts. The paradigm shift to provide equal access to equality education. Means that equal access to quality education. We are trying very best here to give, as mentioned before, the internet access to everybody, especially to the rural area. It's not easy, but the government is trying very hard to give all the channels, all the internet coverage to the rural area. And then to ensure that every student is proficient in Bahasa Malaysia and English. I think for business students, you are conducting the lecture in English. I think there is not much problem for you to speak in English. But here in Malaysia, most of our university, especially the government university, are using Malay as the medium language, not English. But only certain programs, certain courses, or certain universities using English as a medium instruction. So of course, some of them cannot speak in English very well. And then the third one is to produce nation who appreciate values. So we need to apply to instill this base in ourselves because we are human beings, we are mankind, so we need to appreciate values and apply, practice these values in our daily life. And then the transformation of teaching as a profession of choice means that the one, anybody who want to be a teacher, so they will choose teacher as the first option, not as the last option. It's a choice of the first option. That's why when I interview some of the candidates to enter to join the teaching profession, I will ask them why you want to be a teacher. So you must make sure that teaching profession is first choice for those who want to be a teacher. Okay, and then to ensure high performing leaders are placed in every school. Means that I mentioned before as well that the most important person in school is the principal or the headmaster. So we want to ensure that only high performing leaders or the principal headmasters are placed in every school, because this is the person who will shape, who will develop that particular their own school. Okay. And then enable the JPN, means that the state department at the state level, and the PPD is the district level, the officer at the district level, and school to provide. Means that any problem, they will do the solution, they will try to overcome based on the needs. Because it is case by case, we cannot just generalize one case to the whole country. Maybe one problem can be solved with one technique. So that's why the person in charge need to identify the problem and need to identify the needs. So the solution, how they want to overcome the problem, is based on that particular needs. And then utilizing ICT. ICT, of course, the computer, the laptop, the everything, the multimedia, to improve the quality of learning in Malaysia. No more conventional teaching and learning process. Now we are in the era of ICT, so we need to use ICT optimally. Transformation of educational delivery capabilities and capacities and capabilities. How we deliver our teaching, like the lecturer, how they want to deliver the lecture, how they are able to attract the students to listen to the lecture, to the talk. So it's very important, because once the students like the lecturer, or once the student like the teachers, so of course they will be attracted to that particular courses or subject. So for example, a teacher teach maths. Of course, mathematics is not easy, but if the teacher can teach the student, can attract the attention of the student, so of course the student will focus on that particular subject. Collaborate with parents, the community, and the private sector. It means that not only the teachers, when we collaborate with parents, with the help of the assistance of the parents will support at home, community will support the school, and the private sector also will support the school, in terms of course, the financial aspect. So when the financial is very good, very strong, of course, we will be able to provide a better infrastructure, education system to the student. And of course, the last one is to maximize student achievement for every ringgit. Is that every ringgit Malaysia, every penny, every money that we we give to the student with the that we spend. So it should be in return a very good achievement from the students. So this is I think the things that I want to share with you this afternoon. Hope if not all, if not 100%, I hope maybe 10%, 20%, 30% of it you are able to get it and to understand from what I will share this afternoon. Okay, so for that, I think thank you. That's all from me. So I give back to Pak Jimmy for the Q&A session, if any. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. Sohaimi. Let us give Prof a big round of applause by using your button there. Everyone, reactions. Okay. So the online clapping hand, Prof.
It's okay, no problem.
Okay. Very interesting, Prof. Thank you. I learned a lot from today's session. And here I have some questions already with me. I will read the questions for you, Prof.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Prof. It is really interesting to learn about the education system in Malaysia. As you explained before, parents who don't send their children to school might be sued. This is a really interesting fact to learn. And I want to know further, how about the less fortunate family, which probably cannot afford to send their kids to school? Is there any scholarship or subsidy facilitation as well for the students? Thank you for your explanation, Prof.
Okay, may I answer that?
Yes, sure, Prof.
Okay. Thank you for the question. It's very good and interesting question. Okay, for the less fortunate, for the poor people, so the government will give assistance. That's why here in Malaysia, for the poor people, the government will give, I can say that monthly income for them. It's not many, but it's enough for them to do their living. So, and then when their kids want to enter the school, there are no fees imposed, not even a ringgit imposed on them, because the government.
Hello, Prof. Cannot hear your voice. Professor? I can't hear your voice now. Widi? Profnya keluar ya, Profnya ya? Halo, Wid.
Halo, Pak Jim.
Profnya keluar ya?
Yes, Pak. Connect-nya, jaringannya error.
Oh. Bisa balik lagi beliau?
Mohon ditunggu.
Oke.
Jimmy.
Sambil menunggu Profnya masuk lagi, silakan kalau ada pertanyaan. Ini tadi dari Raden Ayu Aura ya. Ada dari Revo. Sebentar saya bacakan. Tadi Aura yang tanya ya. Wah, Profnya kemana nih? Mungkin bisa dimatikan dulu rekamannya, Wid. Yang lain bisa dengar suara saya?
Bisa, Pak.
Bisa, Pak.
Bisa ya?
Pak. Bisa dengar, Pak.
Ini
Bisa,
untung
Pak.
Bisa,
Profnya
Pak.
sudah selesai ngomong untungnya nih. Cuman lagi QA, menarik tadi. Mungkin jaringannya di sana ya. Ada yang mau tanya lagi? Silakan ketik di chat room-nya sambil menunggu Prof. Or you want to talk directly to Prof. Suhaimi? It's okay. Udah masuk lagi belum beliau, Wid?
Belum, Pak Jim.
Belum ada namanya ya?
Belum, karena nggak di waiting room kok. Oh, ini Revo ya? Halo, Revo.
Halo Mas.
Revo mau nanya nggak, Revo? Kayaknya
Udah,
bangun
Pak.
tidur kamu ya?
Gitu. Iya Pak. Ini udah nanya Pak di chat room.
Oh iya, tadi. Saya belum bacain. Profnya
Iya.
belum balik.
Lagi bermasalah kali Pak jaringannya Pak.
Any other questions? Sambil nunggu, jangan buang waktu ya. Kalau mau nanya, silakan. Please type your questions in the chat room. Profnya sedang coba masuk lagi katanya. Saya sudah WhatsApp beliau. Nggak ada yang tanya lagi ya? Ini mahasiswa nih malas bertanya ya. Nanti kalau nggak ada yang nanya, saya yang tanya deh. Tadi banyak sekali ya materi yang bisa ditanyakan sebetulnya. Calon guru SD harus banyak bertanya ya. Boleh pakai bahasa Indonesia ya, kalau Anda nggak yakin. If you are not sure with your English, that's fine. You can use bahasa Indonesia. Ini siapa ini? Sarinawati tadi. Mau nanya ya? Kalau nggak ada yang tanya, nanti saya tutup ya. Karena Prof-nya harus selesai pukul 3. Saya belum lihat ada pertanyaan lagi. Tadi kalau Anda menyimak semua, harusnya banyak pertanyaan. Saya sendiri udah banyak saya tulis pertanyaan.
Global apa yang ada
Widi.
Masuk.
Prof-nya bilang nggak bisa masuk katanya. Udah masuk ke password.
Bentar.
grup WA ya 5 isu global 5 isu global yang besar yang kecilnya kalian silakan lihat di slide yang pernah ibu berikan dari di kelas bahkan tidak ada pernah juga ibu share di WA group.
Pak Jim bisa baca WA Pak?
Ya, ya. Pakai yang ini berarti ya?
Yes Pak.
Ini beda lagi linknya apa gimana, Wit? Ini yang nanya Revo lagi. Coba yang lain ya.
Okay, sorry.
Oke, Prof.
Okay, I'm back.
Oh, great.
Okay,
So,
I'm back. Sorry.
Lost connection.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
It's okay.
So-
So we were just talking about the question that regarding the unfortunate family, unfortunate people who cannot send their kids to the school.
Okay.
So you were talking about that, the subsidy from the government.
Yeah. Actually, the government not only subsidize the fees, but also let's say the student will be given free attire, school uniform.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then the free shoes as well.
Mm.
And then the textbook also free given to the students,
Mhm.
the pupils. Yeah,
Is it across all levels from
all levels
kindergarten all the way
for the
to high
government,
school?
for the government school only. Government school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Until high school, yeah, Prof.
Yeah, until secondary school.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was the first question. Then the next one would be, wait. Good afternoon, Prof. I just want to know further, can we have the same goals in the quality of education between public and private schools? Or maybe the quality of the two kinds of schools, are they the same or what?
Okay. Okay. As I mentioned before, that the perception of most of parents that when they send to the kids to the private is better. But from my experience, it's not like that. It's not like that. Only normally for the private school, the number of students is less. So when lesser students, not we can say that is not necessarily, but usually the teacher will be able to teach better because the number of students is less number in one class. So that's the only thing. In terms of the quality, especially for in terms of the teachers, government school is better because government teachers, they have been trained for 4 years or at least 1 to 6 months training. They need to attend the training to get the certificate for them to be the teachers at the government school.
Okay, thank you,
Okay.
Prof. Another question from Revo, also the same student, asking the previous question. Prof, I just want to know what is the appropriate place for a child with special needs getting education in Malaysia?
Okay, I forgot to explain that one. Okay, thank you for the question. There are special school for the special needs kids. Yeah, in Malaysia. For the disabled or special kids, hearing or the sight for the sight. So we have that special schools for them. For each state we got at least one school for each state for this particular special students.
So is the school also owned by the government or public school?
Yeah. Most of the special schools owned by the government.
Okay. So it means that they are not inclusive schools, right?
Inclusive
I mean,
school
they're
is different.
specialized.
Yeah, special. They are special. Let's say this school for the hearing problem. So they will send this student to this particular school. And there are one school that can, they can cover all the problem. Let's say they unable to hear, unable to see, to talk. So this school will handle with all kind of these disabilities.
Okay, thank you. Because in Indonesia, there are some schools who provide the inclusive education, means that the special needs are, mixed up with the so-called the normal students. So
We got
they are
nearby
being
less
handled.
because
Yeah,
it's not easy to to mix them with the normal student, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Of course, with the a special, skillful teachers as well, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, this is from Dewi in Bahasa Indonesia. Maybe they want to hear you speaking in Bahasa Indonesia also, Prof.
Boleh, boleh. Bisa,
Selamat
bisa.
siang, Prof. Saya mau melanjutkan dari pertanyaan Revo. Revo is the name of the student, the previous one. Bagaimana standar fasilitas yang diberikan oleh sekolah untuk siswa berkebutuhan khusus or special needs? The facilities then.
Okay. The facilities is almost the same. As I mentioned before, that it based on what the student needs.
Hmm.
Okay. They look at what students what they need, then that what the government will give the students based on their needs.
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's why all the teachers also been trained, specialized in that particular area. Okay. That's why it's not easy to become a special needs teachers. So they need to undergo some training, and then the practical everything. So that's the thing, because now in Malaysia, yes, they emphasize on that. Even in the government sector, the government already urged the department to to hire or to employ the disabled person in that particular department. Yeah.
Okay. This is probably the last one, Prof, because we are running out of time.
Okay.
Coming from Julian Shah. Prof, ini bahasa Indonesia ya. Selamat sore, Prof. Aku ingin tahu bagaimana pendapat Prof tentang pendidikan di Indonesia. Sudah bagus atau belum? Jika belum, apa yang harus dilakukan oleh pemerintah Indonesia agar menyamai kualitas pendidikan negara lain seperti di Asia Tenggara ya, Southeast Asia, seperti Malaysia, Filipina, dan negara lain. Maaf sedikit melenceng. Melenceng is it's not really in line with the seminar.
dari tajuk
Saya
ni.
hanya
Okay.
ingin tahu pendapat orang lain, orang luar tentang Indonesia. Terima kasih.
Okay, pendapat saya, okay, in my personal opinion, I think Malaysia and Indonesia is not that far away. Okay, if Singapore different, because Singapore is we call it developed country, and Singapore is a negara maju, it's a developed country. But Malaysia and Indonesia, we are almost equal. Just when I first time step my on Indonesian land, bila saya first time pergi Indonesia. So I think some area Indonesia is better compared to Malaysia. But of course, I think what is the major problem is that Indonesia ni ramai. There are many people there. Macet everywhere. Kan? Okay. Macet everywhere. So and then I think of course the people there, the level of economy also will influence the education system. Kemampuan, is it the we can say that not all the parents have the can afford to send their students to the best school. It's not easy. So same with Malaysia, but what I can see that since the number of population is less here in Malaysia, so it's more manageable in order to manage the the students, like what I can see from these COVID cases, from this pandemic COVID. So because maybe the population of Malaysia is lesser compared to Indonesia, so it's easier for the government to control the people compared to Indonesia. I know Jakarta is already how many people? I think millions of people there. So it's not easy for the government to handle that. So same case with the education. So when the people is more manageable, so easy for the government to impose any system that can that sweep and can enhance the abilities, capabilities, whatever the student in the future. So I don't think that Indonesia is at the bottom. No, I think we are quite similar, but in certain aspect that might be we are better because only the number of population are less compared to Indonesia. Yeah, that's my opinion.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Actually, Jakarta has more than 20 million people
You see,
in Jakarta itself, you know.
it's more than half of Malaysian population.
Yeah,
already.
yeah. Indonesia has more than 260 million people.
Yeah.
Okay. The last one I want to mention before we conclude today's session is the PISA that you mentioned earlier, which is very interesting, Prof. We are struggling very hard also to, improve our quality of education, because according to the PISA results, we are still left behind. Among 65 Asian countries, we are like probably number 60 something, and then we have to catch up with the
Yeah. Malaysia
the
too.
things that,
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you very much, Prof. Suhaimi, for the interesting and very insightful event for today, and we do hope that you can again give us some other thoughts, probably some other topics like next time, Prof, if you don't mind.
Inshallah. No problem.
Terima kasih banyak, Prof.
Sama-sama.
Di sini ada dosen-dosen, mungkin mau say something. Pak Suwarno sudah left tadi ya, ada keperluan lain. Pak Freddy, Bu Astri, are you still here? Before we end and take pictures together? Maybe they have other meeting as well.
Okay, no problem.
So they open the devices. Usually we have parallel meetings at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's normal nowadays.
Yeah. Again, thank you very much. Terima kasih banyak, Prof. Suhaimi. Semoga bisa ketemu lagi, not only online, but we can see each other very soon. Yeah. Okay. For the last program, we will take picture together. Mas Widi, sudah siap? Foto bersama, Mas. Semua dinyalakan kameranya, mahasiswa. Please turn on your camera so we can have pictures together. Mas Widi, silakan. Harus berapa kali nih, Mas? Ambil fotonya. Mas Widi. Mas Widi.
Ya, Pak. Oke.
Silakan. Fotonya sudah siap. Berapa kali foto?
Ada 3 kali ya. 3 kali ya. Kita foto 3 kali.
3 times ya, Prof.
Yang pertama. 1, 2, 3, cheese. Oke, tunggu sebentar. Yang kedua, mulai. 1, 2, 3. Oke, tunggu. Yang terakhir. Terakhir, 1, 2, 3, cheese. Sudah, Pak Jim.
Okay, thank you, Mas Widi. Again, thank you very much, Prof. Suhaimi, on behalf of Binus University, from the Primary Teacher Education, and Ibu Dr. Melanie. We wish you thank you again, and we hope to see you sometime in the future.
Okay, you are welcome.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you
Stay
all.
healthy there. Stay safe, Prof.
Okay, you too.
Ya, bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Ya, mahasiswa semua, lambaikan tangan. Bye.